What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with the last round of Chess Zone's July Action Tournament. And going into the last round, I have a score of 1.5 out of 3. We played a very long battle against Dhruva, where we both had chances to win and draw, but I ultimately fumbled and blundered the king and pawn endgame and resulted in Dhruva winning after like a 2.5 hour fight. So mentally, I was not in the best state of mind, and the game was starting very soon. So I was just hoping that like we'd get someone lower rated, and we would secure a 2.5 out of 4 score, or maybe even a 2 out of 4 score, and ending up with a generally good performance in the tournament. And one of my wishes was fulfilled. I did get someone lower rated. I was paired against Firat Sahiner, who I played last month. We played last month in the first round of the tournament. We got a quick draw. So I was thinking like maybe we do the same thing, kind of, because, we're both tired. So, but this was not the case. Firat outplayed me in this game, and yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you the game here. So this time I have the white pieces and he has the black pieces. So I begin the game off with e4. He goes with e5. And here I go into my opening. Knight f3. Knight c6. d4, the Scotch game. E takes d4. And bishop c4. This is the Scotch gambit. This is what I play almost all the time for long-time viewers of the channel. Essentially just trying to get quick development and thinking about capturing the pawn back later, while prioritizing other things in the position. So here, a lot of people play knight f6, bishop c5, but here Firat plays d6. He's already giving the pawn back, and this is a more passive approach to the opening, but it's not anything too terrible. Some people just don't like being up material for too long because they don't want to risk falling behind in development or making positional errors, so this is fine too. So after d6, of course I take back, and here we just continue as if this wasn't a gambit. Knight f6, knight c3, bishop e7, bishop b5. Here I was playing kind of quickly. I probably wouldn't have played bishop b5 on a fresher mind. I probably would have castled, or maybe went bishop to like g5 or something like that, but here I was just trying to play quickly, maybe make the game simpler because my mind was kind of exhausted, so something like that. Bishop b5, pretty clear threat, obviously, and black really only has one reply, which is bishop d7. And here I decide to take on c6, and I was expecting Firat to maybe take with the b pawn, maybe to keep the bishop pair, but he goes with bishop takes c6, so both of us have eliminated a bishop. So here after bishop c6, I take on c6. Apparently Engine wanted knight f5, but that's not really a huge difference in the eval. So knight takes c6, b takes c6. So right now he has 3 pawn islands, and I have 2. So I have a bit of a healthier pawn structure, but this isn't really decisive yet, and we should both be focusing on other things in the position, like castling and middle game planning, rather than pawn structure. So b takes c6. Here I castle, and here he castles as well. We both are not. Our blitz in this moves out. Not really thinking at all. So here, I go with bishop to f4, and that's just a normal developing move. He goes with knight d7, probably wanting to go knight e5 at some point. Here I go with rook e1, just continuing normal development. He goes with bishop to f6, trying to reposition on the long diagonal, of course. I go with queen f3. This wasn't the optimal place to put the queen, because in the future you're going to see that the rook's going to be active on the f-file. The engine prefers queen d3, but with queen d3 I didn't want to get hit with tempo with knight c5. Although I guess queen d2 makes more sense, which again, if I had a fresher mind, I might have not played so quickly. So I played queen f3. Here Firat goes with bishop to e5. I don't know why that's a mistake. It looks kind of normal. Apparently should have went bishop d4, but whatever. Here I decide to take. He takes with the knight, and here I go with queen g3, preparing to go f4, maybe f5, and try to create some sort of a pawn storm. So yeah, very boring middle game here so far. Doesn't look like anything's going to happen. So here Firat goes with rook b8, just attacking the pawn. I go b3 to save it, and here he goes with f5. I told you that the rook would become very active. This is a really great move, activating the rook by trying to trade pawns and open the file. So here I go with f4. I guess I should have taken, because maybe I overextended the f-pawn. I should have maybe played something like takes, and maybe something like, I don't know, f3, just to make sure that the rook can't really attack anything. Nothing's really vulnerable, so just to be more solid, I could have done that. Also, you kind of have to take because black's going to go here. You don't really want to allow that, so I went f4, going to attack the knight. And here he goes with knight g6, and here I started to realize that maybe f4 wasn't great, because now this is a problem. He's threatening to take this pawn, and then my f-pawn's a bit weak. I mean, he's going to take it twice if I don't defend. So at first I was thinking maybe to go e5, but that didn't look right, because here, f4, and he's just going to be creating a lot of problems. Like, he already has queen d4 on the table. He has f3. So I didn't want to go into e5. So here, after knight g6, I spent some time, and I eventually settle with queen f3. My idea would have been to maybe take on c6 at some point, play e5 now, and at least have the queen on the f file and not on the g file. Stuff like that. We'll keeping the tension. So here he plays f takes e4. Queen takes I was actually thinking about rook takes or queen takes. Which one was better? Let's see. Rook takes. Yeah, rook takes is worse because you get hit with d5. And yeah, your rook has to move, and this just isn't ideal. Although it's not like losing. So yeah, queen takes is the better recapture. I correctly evaluate this. And here he goes with knight takes f4. And here, it's, again, totally even, but black has a slight edge, probably because his pieces are a bit more harmonious. So knight takes f4. Here I go with queen takes c6. I was a little bit scared of maybe queen g5 happening. He didn't play that in the game, but I was kind of worried about this. Maybe he'd have like a rook lift or something, or I don't know, like maybe he'd bring his pieces over really quickly. My king's kind of defenseless, but I'm actually totally okay here. Don't have to worry about anything. So the threat is stronger than the execution, as they say. So queen takes c6. He didn't go queen g5. He went rook b6. That's going to prove to be a very useful move later. I'd go with queen f3. And here goes queen g5 now. So playing it a bit later. And he actually has a lot of pressure building toward my king. And this rook on b6 in the next couple turns is going to become a monster piece. So how exactly does that happen? So here, I don't like the queen on g5, so I play knight e4 to ask the queen where it's going to go. She goes back to g6. And yeah, black is slightly better again because, they're having some pressure on my king, but again, it's ever so slightly. And here, the only move to not be worse for white is the move c4. And upon further analysis of this move, I suppose the idea is to prevent d5. Like if d5 happens, yeah, this. You're going to see why d5 is going to prove fatal for me. So I think that's why c4 was the best move. But my logical move, queen g3, and I'm already losing. Like, again, I was not in the best mental state. I wasn't really thinking too long. I just played the first move that looked natural. The queen's a little annoying. Let's offer a trade, right? What can be wrong with that? So queen g3 was played. And my idea was that, if he trades queens, then, the kingside pressure's gone. And maybe I'll swing a rook to f1. Not now because I'd hang knight e2 check, but at some point in the future. I'm just sort of trying to fend off black's threats. And here black's -2 because, again, d5 is a killer move for Firat. I think that's why c4 was better, just to prevent that move. And the problem with this is that, well, if your knight moves, you lose. You don't lose. If your knight moves, your pawns get really doubled when the queen trades, and this is just going to be a horrendous endgame for you. And if you try to trade here, rook takes g6, knight g3. Yeah, black can already start knocking on the door. h5, h4, pressure on g2. This is just very bad position. So yeah, d5 is a very good move for him in this position because this rook on b6 is constantly threatening to swing over here. This is a detail I overlooked. So here he didn't find d5. He played queen h5, which made sense, trying to not trade and keeping the queen in the vicinity. So here, he's threatening knight e2 check. So I decided to go with king h1. That way it wouldn't be a fork. Apparently queen g5 is a little better, but nonetheless, I'm still way worse in the position. And now he goes d5. He plays the best move. He goes d5. The rook's going to come into the party, rook h6, rook g6. And here I started to worry that I was losing because it looks very bad. Like, how are you going to stop rook g6 and rook takes g2 or knight takes g2? Like, there's simply no way. Now, the engine does find a way. It says knight f2 is the best move, and if rook g6, queen f3, you can survive by offering a trade and just playing this worse endgame, but at least you're not going to get brutally checkmated, right? So I didn't do that. I spent some time again. I don't remember how much. And I eventually settled with knight d2, which I guess isn't really that much different because the engine didn't go down too much. And yeah, very natural move for Firat. Rook g6, he plays it instantly. Here I go with queen f3. And the engine's saying to trade queens, which I kind of was wanting him to do. But here he played queen g5, which after some time the engine deems as a better move. Because, yeah, if you don't want to trade here, like, you're trying to keep the pressure on my king. Like, trading the queens would fizzle out black's momentum. So black doesn't want to do that. Black wants to rather add another attacker to my pawn on g2, right? So he plays queen g5, which is more accurate. And here, I'm pretty much toast. The rook is staring on my queen on the f-file. 3 pieces are attacking g2. G3 looked very bad because knight h3 would be a hole. So I realized that, like, my position's already falling apart, and, like, this is not a great way to end the tournament. So here, after a long time, I play the very ugly, very depressing rook g1. I mean, desperate times call for desperate needs, right? So we got to do something to not get obliterated, even if it is rook g1. So after rook g1, like, my position is in shambles. Like, my king is cocooned in, like, a little box. My rook's passive. Black has all their pieces aiming at me, and I'm going to lose very soon. So here, the best move for black is knight h5, with the idea to go knight g3 smothered mate and force you to open the h-file, in which case it would be a very swift death. So, like, let's say you see the knights hanging, right? So let's say you go here. Knight g3, and if takes, black's going to take this, and you can't take because this rook is actually preventing you from escaping, and rook h6 is a very, very brutal checkmate. So that would have been the disgusting engine line. But Firat plays rook h6 here. Slightly inaccurate, but what can I do? I'm still totally losing, right? And here, after the game, he told me that I should have played the move h3, because right now, I'm just going to show the point. Right now, he's actually threatening to sacrifice. So let's say I move, like, here, right? He's threatening to sacrifice. Rook takes h2 here, and you can either play queen h4 or queen h6. Yeah, queen h4 is better because you don't let the king go to g3. So yeah, queen h4 would have been a checkmate. So he's threatening to sack. I see that, of course. And I'm worried about defending the h2 pawn. Yeah, h3 would have been better, but I didn't want him to sack on h3 with a knight. I mean, not really much I can do. So here I decided to go with the quote-unquote blunder, knight f1, with the idea that if rook takes, I take with the knight, and I'm at least holding, maybe even better. Let's see, if rook here... Wow, we can actually still play this. It's kind of funny. Rook takes h2, knight takes, knight h5, same idea, going for the smothered mate. So even if he did take that, although technically not correct, his position is just so good, he can even play it here, even though I'm theoretically preventing it. So here, Firat plays the move knight h3, and here it just goes from bad to worse. Like, knight f2 is game over. The rook's hanging, the queen's hanging. Everything's just falling apart. And here for a second, like a few seconds, I thought he blundered a piece. Because gh3, and if you take my queen, I take your queen on g5, and you hung a knight, right? And, if you just move your queen, I move my queen. But then I saw the point. Firat is too good for this. He probably calculated this before playing knight h3. He played the very nice desperado queen takes g1 check. Both the queens are hanging, so might as well grab some material before we both trade off our queens. So queen takes g1 check, king takes, rook takes f3, and after all this, Firat is up in exchange, and I'm just totally losing. So here I go with knight g3, maybe playing some hope chess, thinking he'd maybe blunder this and get his rooks forked, but even so, he can still sack and have a totally pleasant rook endgame, but yeah, this would just be more cumbersome for you to win, so he didn't do that. There's no need for that. He went rook c3 immediately. He saw the trap. I go with rook d1. I'm like, okay, we're only down in exchange. Maybe he'll slip somehow, but I don't think that's happening. So he goes c6. I go with rook d4 with the idea that maybe he takes this pawn, and I go over here and try to create some counterplay. So he goes rook c2. I go with rook a4. I mean, it's a hopeless cause. I mean, I'm just totally losing. There's no way for him to lose. Knight f1, defending the pawn. Rook f3, and he's going to totally annihilate my knight on f1, so I have to move my knight again. So here he goes with rook f to f2. I go rook takes a7, rook takes h2. I could resign here if I wanted to, go home earlier, leave the scene of the crime. But I decided to keep playing for some reason, Knight f5, it's never too late to blunder. Rook hg2 check, king h1, rook takes a2. It's literally impossible for him to do anything wrong. Rook c7, rook fg to f2. He's actually threatening a ladder mate, so I throw in a check, king f8, king g1, and rook c2. And here, it was enough suffering. I resigned the game against Firat Sahiner. And this was not the result I wanted. Considering his low rating, he's quite underrated. Sometimes he has these great tournament performances. Sometimes he doesn't. This tournament was his day. He gained like almost 60 points from this tournament. So here he was playing higher than his actual rating on paper. So he's a bit of an unpredictable guy. And yeah, don't let his rating deceive you. He's quite a strong player. So rook fc2, resign, and yeah, this is not what I wanted. And maybe if I had maybe in like an extra hour or two before the game, I could have reset and played different moves, but alas, we end the game in a loss. We have a score of 1.5 out of 4, so I knew I was going to be losing some rating from this tournament. I ended up losing 19 points, which is a moderate loss. It's not a little and it's not a lot, but it's definitely, something to recover from. So look at the accuracy here. Yeah, you guys can see that he just outplayed me. I didn't play well at all. 79.4, especially in my own Scotch gambits. That's not ideal. Losing to your own opening, and he played at 89.5, so he was better mentally. And yeah, we just got crushed. So that's all I can say. And I'll attach the rating link in the description, the tournament results. And yeah, it was a fun tournament, even though we didn't get the score we wanted. So yeah, hope you guys liked this video. If you like this video, let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.